Ladies and gentlemen, this has to be one of the most horrific stories I have had to narrate since starting my channel on YouTube. This story came this morning, November 7th, 2024, from a new listener. He may be a subscriber as well. You have to pay attention to this one. Cheating can sometimes be violent and damn near cost you your life. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Let's go. Well, Tony, I'm finally ready to tell my story. I appreciate you replying to my comment so I can get this story out here. Me and my ex-wife grew up in a small town in Kentucky. I'm Ray and my ex-wife is Amanda. We were both 43, no kids, high school sweethearts, and with our age, we come from that era that would make you think we would be together forever. Man, oh man, was I wrong. I am an ex-fireman, and she is, guess what, Tony? A nurse. I'm sorry. I know at the end of this, people will wonder how I have humor, but Tony always talks about how the nurse profession is the saddest when it comes to infidelity issues. So, this started off 6 years ago with a random phone call late at night that was just totally random. She gets up at 3 a.m. and leaves and literally comes back home around 8 a.m. I assume that is when the affair started. She tells me that it was a family emergency, but with me going through schooling with her and my life with her, it felt wrong on my conscience that she didn't tell me what was wrong or who in her family was hurt or whatever. Didn't sit right with me, but I just let it go and was like, whatever. Fast forward 3 months after that, I am getting my yearly visit and the doctor tells me, "You are married, correct?" And I'm like, "Yes." And she says, "Wow, you have gonorrhea. Have you realized that at all?" I literally went into shock. I was like, "No, ma'am. I've only been with my wife." The hospital treated me there and told me to call her. And when I did, she went ballistic accusing me of cheating, etc. But she came and got treated. Now that time passed, the next week after we got treated, she was telling me sorry for being so hard on me about that, and that maybe I had gotten gonorrhea from sitting on the toilet somewhere or at the gym I go to. I know that sounds crazy, but I am one of those guys, if I don't have enough information, I just don't know. So I left it at that, accepted her apology, and we went about our lives. Fast forward a year from that time, my wife is starting to go out to these Saturday night girl nights out type of events. I told her in the past that I'm not really for that because to me, if you're married, it just makes you seem desperate or like you're going through a midlife crisis. I didn't say anything at first, but after 3 months, I finally stood up for myself and I was like, what the hell is going on? Of course, she turned it on me and said I'm being controlling and insecure. Well, in the midst of that going out, I was going through my sister's death. So in my small bout of depression, she was more than likely living it up with her AP. The way this came out is really crazy. My wife gets home from dinner with one of her friends one night, and there is a wordplay game on her phone. The phone is unlocked, and I look down and there's a little chat box on this wordplay game, and I see it says, "Make sure you wash the lubricant smell out," with her replying, "Okay, I found some new Bath and Body Works scent soap that will take that smell right out. He won't even notice." I am instantly infuriated, but my parents were divorced, and my father had caught my mother cheating, and he told me a long time ago, if that ever happens, don't overreact. Keep it in mind and try to go about it the correct way. So I took my phone out, and I took pictures of the chat log and sent them to my personal email. I didn't say anything. She got out of the shower, tried to have sex, and I was just like, I'm not interested. That next day, she had gone to work to do travel nursing for the next 3 months on the road in a city 3 hours away from us. She came back on the weekends, but something didn't feel right. Through faith, the next week while she is gone, I am walking out to my car for work, and a black Cadillac is outside behind my vehicle. A gentleman gets out and he says, "Will you please get in the car?" I said yes, and when I got in the back seat of the Cadillac, It was the mayor of our small town with her personal security guard. She proceeded to tell me that her husband has been sleeping with my wife for over a year. She handed me an envelope full of out-of-town dates, walks on the river, and the kicker was that she had found pregnancy test pics on his phone from Amanda. I was floored, and we talked for another hour, but she left, and I started my stage to get away and go to a divorce attorney so I could have divorce papers for her to sign as soon as she got back in a few months. Well, I thought that was going to be as easy as making a ham sandwich. Kentucky is a no-fault state, so I knew I wouldn't make it out clear. So that whole next month, I act normal, talk to the mayor a few more times, and she helps me get an apartment on the other side of town. Well, as soon as my wife returns to town, she is blowing my phone up, but I made copies and left her an envelope showing all the evidence I had against her. She is begging and pleading to come talk, etc., and she eventually persuades me to come talk. I guess being lonely and really missing her, I wanted to see her at least. This is where my life changed forever. She convinces me to come over on a Saturday night. I have been gone for a month without talking to her. Neither one of us signed divorce papers, and I guess I was just lonely that Saturday night. When I get there, I call her and say, "Come outside." And she opens her front door and says, "Come in. Quit acting like a stranger. This is your house until we get divorced." So, like a dummy, I tell her I don't want to have sex. That was very hard because she was built like a brick house. And when I walked in, she was naked. I told her I don't want to do anything. I just want to know why you did this to me. I didn't know until later, of course, that she lured me into a death trap, got me there to make it look like I had come over belligerent and mad. But here's what happened. We are talking, and I hear someone behind me say, "You stupid MF, you're going to make me lose a lot of money." I turned around, and it was the mayor's husband with the shotgun pointed at me. He said, "Amanda and I are going to kill you, and we're going to make it look like you just broke in and tried to hurt her." So he takes a bat, breaks up the front door window, and knocks over a few chairs. I said, "What the fuck is going on?" As soon as I said that, I could hear her say, "Shoot him." I remember the blast sound and a tug on my left arm. When I looked, I didn't see anything. My arm literally blew off into the kitchen. I immediately was numb. I just remember it spinning my whole body around. I turned to run, and I heard another shot, but I literally feel myself lifted off the ground. He stands over me, and he's hitting me with the butt of the gun in my face, and that dislocates my jaw. Of course, she is yelling, "Shoot him in the head! Shoot him in the head! It will be self-defense." But the gun jams, and instead of calling saying that I intruded, they take off. A neighbor came over, saw my arm in the kitchen, and called the police. I thank Officer Grant and the neighbor to this day, because the neighbor took his belt off and tied my arm to make the bleeding stop. He knew something was wrong with my leg, but he was intent on just trying to get my arm to stop bleeding. Of course, I went into shock. Apparently, they both ran to Montana to his brother's. It was all over the news, but I guess the mayor couldn't put it together in her head because I remember telling her my wife was out of town working. Nobody put two and two together that she was about to divorce him. And remember, me and her didn't sign divorce papers. So those papers were literally just papers sitting on a table. So I guess detectives didn't even think about them. Nothing looked suspicious when they called and told her what happened. She just acted hysterical and then told them she was out of town in Montana working and couldn't leave to call my family. Unbelievably, the small town police department went for it. The neighbor says to the police that he believes it was just an intruder because he didn't see my wife come home. What a bummer for a little while because the story on the news kept running that someone broke in trying to kill me. So untrue. I'm like, this is a slam dunk case. My arm is amputated and my leg is amputated from the knee down and the wife doesn't show up at all? What are these small town cops thinking? They're idiots, except Officer Grant, of course. but he is an idiot in some way, lol. I woke up 5 weeks later from a medically induced coma with no left arm and no right leg, all because of my wife's infidelity. For literally 3 months, I couldn't talk, write, or do anything. So small town dumb police just thought that someone came in and tried to rob me. But when I was able to tell them what happened, there was a nationwide manhunt, and my ex-wife was found in Montana at a townhome with the mayor's husband, who had been missing for the last 3 months. It's unbelievable that these dumbasses kept their phone, and this idiot apparently had the shotgun in the back of his pickup truck. Unbelievable. I guess the hardest part about this is that me and her never had any kids, but she apparently was pregnant at the time of her arrest with twins from him. To cut through the minutia, my ex-wife got 17 years in prison, and the mayor's husband got 27 years. The judge sentenced him to 20 years per limb. I have never seen that before. People, I tell you, everyday life is a blessing. But I also wish I could go back to the first time when I knew I wasn't cheating, but the doctor said I had gonorrhea. I feel like if I would have done more research, I would have known she was cheating years before any of this happened. Thank you, Tony. I know it's a lot to read, and the names will be changed, of course, in the last 4 months by the ID channel. So if you see this story within the next couple of years on that, just think of old Ray. Stay blessed, Tony. I'm a survivor. To that, I say you are a survivor. Folks, be careful out there. This man almost lost his life because his wife was cheating on him. Until next time.